Coming up at 10, we talk with Yakim, who was the mastermind behind this idea to raise money for Darien. In Killeen, Jillian Angeline, Channel 6 News. Back to you. Doug, Leslie, I'm surrounded by buildings around here in downtown Temple that were built between 1900 and 1939. When Lindsay Stacy walks through the hospital doors, she says it's a new normal, but she hopes that new normal won't last for long. The newly discovered picture was taken in the Marshall Islands on the Jaluit Atoll. Right here, and if that proves to be true, it could change history. It's my first rodeo, I know that saying, but it really is. We've got bucking bulls and bucking horses right behind us. I've got one right here. Cap tells me it attaches directly to the helmet using some clips and some Velcro. Operation Spartan Shield, aimed to train with regional partners here in the Middle East. Get the shot nice and steady. And we'll see you right back here at 6 o'clock. From somewhere in Rogers in some beautiful cornfields, this is Jillian Angeline for Channel 6 News.
All right, Jillian, find out where you are.
I've got my American flag here, and so does Burnett. As you can see on his hat, he's a Purple Heart Vietnam veteran. Tell me, what does Veterans Day mean to you? Back in May, Private First Class Tyler Ekblad said he was just doing the right thing. But those are the 3 R's that are takeaways from this interview. While making the rounds. While it's got contact information, it's also got mentions of favorite hobbies, including chasing squirrels and doing tricks. But he's not out of the woods just yet. He's had a series of surgeries here at Brooke Army Medical Center. J.C. Alston was 18 years old, just a few months out of boot camp when he was thrust into 4 long years of war. We're here at the port of Shuaibah in Kuwait on the Persian Gulf, where GREYWOLF troops' vehicles are being relieved by the 2nd Brigade Armored Vehicles. 70%, Leslie and Doug, the National Mounted Warfare Foundation's leader. The main responsibilities of the chaplain and their assistants are to nurse the living, care for the wounded, and honor the fallen. From Fort Hood, this is Jillian Angeline. Many of the cadets I talked to enter the program as shy students and come out as leaders. It's going to benefit homeless veterans, both male and female. Come on down, you got till 6:30. Now, Askari tells me freedom doesn't come easy. He said earlier today, foreign powers like the U.S. and European countries need to help the Iranian people maintain internet access. Take a look at this. It's the BUEHRING baptismal font. But I'll tell you one thing, motivation very high for the first midterm elections in the country after the election of President Donald Trump last year. And this is one of the main ways soldiers kill time.
In tonight's Military Matters, we're learning more about the life-saving measures that brought back Navy explosives tech Chief Petty Officer Kenton Stacy home to the U.S. last November. He was severely hurt in an IED blast in Syria while working at a medical facility. Channel 6 military reporter Jillian Angeline spoke exclusively with a member of the burn flight team about those rescue efforts.
He was probably on the top 10 worst injuries I've ever seen in my career.
Captain Sabah Salgado was one of 11 members who went to Baghdad as a critical care nurse with the burn flight team to help save Chief Petty Officer Kenton Stacy.
The patient was so involved critically that we needed multiple teams to be able to move him.
Salgado and his teammates deployed from San Antonio to Iraq within 2 hours of getting the call.
The team didn't hesitate. We were ready.
When the burn flight team heard about Kenton Stacy's injuries, they came here to this equipment room and grabbed what they needed. Captain Salgado told me they brought about 13 to 14 Pelican cases, and they also brought this cardiac monitor. Once there, Salgado and his team did a pulmonary bypass on Kenton, a surgery lasting 2 hours. Kenton was on this breathing machine for about 31 hours until he got back onto U.S. soil.
It's kind of like a dialysis machine, but for the lungs.
And it was a historic surgery in aviation history, according to the critical care nurse. It was the first time the team did not use blood thinner during the bypass because of Stacy's head trauma. This is the kind of mobile ICU unit the team puts together on deployment and in the air.
We're constantly monitoring vital signs, treating for anxiety, pain.
2.5 months later, Kenton is improving.
That puts a smile on my face that we got the job done. We got him home and see his family.
It's a long road ahead, but his wife Lindsay is by his side every day.
Just praying for his anxiety, for him to get off the ventilator. Praying also for swelling to go down in his spine.
In San Antonio, Jillian Angeline, Channel 6 News.
Doug and Leslie, people started streaming in here around 2:30. Hundreds upon hundreds of people coming out here, some estimating around 1,200 people to honor Trooper Nipper. Now, Trooper Nipper did receive full honors here, and they retired his number as well. Take a listen.
40, Trooper Thomas Nipper, GHP Temple, Unit 6188 is out of service, forever, off duty. DPS Waco.
At least 3/4 of the attendees today are members of law enforcement themselves. This according to Sergeant D.L. Wilson with the Texas Department of Public Safety. Some coming from as close as right here in Belton, others from as far as Fort Bend. And they brought the mounted patrol of horses and the bagpipe corps to pay tribute to Nipper. Also a strong showing from honor guards from around 15 states. New York, New Mexico, Louisiana, Missouri, Tennessee. Different color uniforms signifying a different state. And federal agencies too, like Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Wilson tells me he's worked with Nipper for years, and his response to the anticipated attendance were family. Now, the Texas DPS troopers are wearing black bands around their badge to signify the mourning, and they will take off those bands after Nipper is buried. Live in Belton, Jillian Angeline, Channel 6 News.
All right, Jillian.
As a gunner, your primary focus is scanning the lanes, scanning targets, and always being aware of your surroundings.
Specialist Jose Torres is gunner in today's exercise, in charge of locating moving targets and firing at them. He tells me it's the most enjoyable position for him. We got a chance to watch Torres in action today. He was standing inside the Humvee with his weapon on the ready.
This helps us improve our readiness and our proficiency at moving effectively and safely.
The 49th Transportation Battalion is part of the 13th Expeditionary Sustainment Command and must be ready to deploy at any time. The crew gunnery exercises on post encourage soldiers to work together and communicate.
Where they get to exercise all the collective tasks that they have been training throughout the year under stress and pressure.
I sat in the back of the Humvee where once fired shells would drop into the vehicle, some still hot and smoking. The battalion may be doing combat training twice a year, but much of its other training comes with real-world missions, like keeping Fort Hood moving.
Some of the only heavy lift assets here on post. So container movement, vehicle movement, cargo shipments, personnel shipments through the airfield.
Always keeping busy with each deployment in and out of Fort Hood, keeping with the 49ers motto, "We never stop." On Fort Hood, Jillian Angeline, Channel 6 News.